Everybody see that first photo?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. This is a fly bridge of a boat. I won't get into all the zippers, but we've actually stitched zippers on the Tyvek here and zipped it onto the enclosure. Now we do that with our flip trace method, and we've zipped it on. That's derived from our flip trace. And this comes down, and it's fitted between this rail and the visor here. And we've stuck it along double-sided seam tape along that rail. We've stuck the pattern to that rail. And then it hangs sort of like a valance from there. And you have extra material and it needs to be tucked in to these fasteners. You can see how we've taken a crease and taken the extra material so that the pattern paper is actually laying flat between the two fasteners. The next step is we're going to draw a dart starting at the line we drew along the rail. So what you're looking at right now is basically a molded front end. So if I was to go back down to the boat and zip that on, that would fit the front of that boat perfectly, including the fastener locations and everything. It'll again lay flat. But what we've done is we've transferred the darts from here. In other words, we don't have to lay out two separate pieces of paper. This is one big paper with darts in it, so you can work it up fairly quickly at the boat. You see, we just lay the seam tape. It doesn't really matter which way it overlaps. I usually put it on the bottom piece. And we'll lay one side, and then we'll flip it over and lay the other side. And just like that, we haven't done any stitching yet. And then we'll throw a couple of staples in the end just to hold things in place. And then we'll run a stitch down the top edge and the bottom edge of that 2-inch masking. Now this is hiding our seam. So you can see I've stitched it there, starting off the edge a little bit. And next one, we're extending our line, and here's the completed panels.
Mark, I have a question.
Yeah.
Mark?
Yeah.
This is Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Mark. That was a great presentation. It doesn't really leave me with a lot of questions. You explained it so well. But one question I do have is, so it makes no difference where you end the dart at the top. You just kind of you come off of those hash marks and bring it up to the top. There's nothing much else to say about that.
No, I found I was concerned about that when I first started doing this, but it's really not an issue. What I generally do is I take my finger and I just make a 2 or 3 inch crease in the general direction, and then I lay it flat. Okay. The important thing is that you have the hash mark's got to be flat between the fasteners. So even if the fasteners flare out and go flat, you want the hash marks to be directly between the fasteners. Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else?
This is Chris. Mark, very, like David said, very good explanation and description. Leaves me with no questions, and that's almost unheard of.
Okay, this is David. If you do that on a window with even more curve than that technique, are you able to lay will that pattern lay flat back at the shop or not?
Yes, it will. Yep. Yep. Well, above the line, you might have to make.
Awesome. That is mind blowing. I love it.
You'll have a dart above the line, whereas with what's on the screen here, you'll have sort of a dart above the line. So you'll have to make a relief cut, and it'll be overlapped a little bit. Yes, it works for any amount of curve. I mean, of course, the space might be more.
Mark, this is Carrie again.
Yep.
David had asked the question about if it lays flat back in the shop. I didn't quite understand what you meant by the relief cut at the top that you might have to make.
Okay, well, you see where the top of the dart is here?
Yes.
Okay, what happens is that's the top of the dart, so you're splitting that apart. Well, it's like a pair of scissors. On the other side, you're going to have to make a little split almost down to the line, because that's going to the paper's going to overlap itself a little bit in order to make it lay flat.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
In this case, I didn't want to do that. And I got the sides flat and I got the forward part of the top flat. I got the other side flat. And then I was kind of left with a, so you see, I ended up with all this extra material from this bow. It's flat, from this bow to that bow. That's not a problem. This is stuck with tape, okay, on the underside. And now I have all this extra material. And I did the same thing. I made hash marks. I took out the extra material between the snaps. Of course, this is a track right here. And I actually had some extra material. It'll work with a track like that. If you see what I see, the track is behind here.